From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, this is Hannah Mordeau, and this is your News 8 Daily for Tuesday, January 6th. It is feeling really nice outside. It's in the mid-30s right now, but it's going to really warm up as the day goes on. We're going to have some fog and drizzle. This morning may have some cloudy skies, but the high is going to be around 54 degrees. The next data center in central Indiana could be coming to Shelby County. The Common Council in Shelbyville voted last night to annex land near I-74 and State Road 44 tied to a data center proposal from a California company. The vote comes even though thousands of people signed a petition opposing the plan, and several criticized it before the vote.
It's not that we don't want progress in Shelbyville. We are very open to good progress, but we feel that the siting is wrong and that the data centers offer all kinds of environmental impacts as well as health and safety impacts.
The Plan Commission is set to hold a public hearing on the data center proposal tomorrow night at Shelbyville High School. Here in Indianapolis, some people living at an apartment complex on the northeast side say they have now been without running water for more than 3 weeks. News 8's Jaden Reeves spoke with a woman who lives there.
I can't keep my house clean. We can't use the toilet. Like, my house smells like a sewer because we cannot flush our toilet. It's been 3 weeks. Like, it's ridiculous.
Tamika Gouch is one of the few people living at Twin Hills Apartments that have been without running water since December 14th.
Yep, nothing.
She says it first began when a frozen pipe burst. For Gouch and the connecting apartments, the water was turned off, but never turned back on.
We can't take showers. We can't clean up. We can't do our day-to-day job as we're supposed to.
Gouch says she has had to rely on friends and family to help her keep a steady supply of water at her place.
If it wasn't for my friend buying me waters and jugs and stuff like you see here, I wouldn't have nothing.
Gouch and her children have been staying with family because she says the conditions have made it unsafe and unhygienic. She says she and others have reached out to management multiple times, but they can't get any replies. She says maintenance looked at the issue, but made no repairs.
It sucks for everybody that lives here, especially the people that, pay their rent and pay their bills on time. It really sucks. I really hope that no one else has to go through this.
She's now unable to get back in contact with maintenance for them to return and fix it.
Tell me what y'all want me to do, because y'all have me sitting here and I have 3 kids. This is not fair to me. You know what I'm saying? And I understand, like I said, it's low income, I get it. But y'all should not be treating people like this at all.
Gouch says the health department has been by and says it plans to take action. We reached out to the Indianapolis Housing Agency and the Marion County Health Department for answers and have yet to hear back. Reporting in Indianapolis, I'm Jaden Reeves for Wish TV and wishtv.com.
The City County Council has formalized its new leadership for the year. The council elected Maggie Lewis as its next president last night. Council's Democratic caucus nominated Lewis after she first served as council president from 2012 to 2017. Council also elected Democrat John Barth as its next vice president. Happening today at the State House, the full state Senate could take up a second reading of a bill designed to crack down on businesses who employ immigrants without proper documentation. Senate Bill 76 would allow the state attorney general's office and other agencies to report possible employment law violations to federal authorities. Also this morning, the Senate Corrections Committee will hear testimony on a bill that would allow the state to execute inmates by firing squad. Right now, the state only uses lethal injection on death row inmates. Legislative Democrats say utility costs and child care are at the top of their 2026 priorities. News 8 government reporter Garrett Berquist talked to lawmakers as the session resumed.
Both parties here at the State House say affordability issues will be top priority this session, but they have very different ideas how to go about it. Now that the redistricting fight is over, House Democrats say they want to focus on economic issues.
Quite simply, we have to tackle the cost of living crisis now, and House Democrats have a plan to do just that.
Giaquinta says Democrats want to repeal utility sales taxes for residential customers. They also want to cap health insurance premiums and create tax-free savings accounts for first-time homebuyers. And they want to set up a way for parents, employers, and the state to share some of the costs of childcare. Those ideas could be a tough sell, particularly in a non-budget year. Republicans consistently oppose changing the budget mid-cycle. Democrats point out lawmakers already might have to make tax code changes to conform with the One Big Beautiful Bill.
Do we not open the budget so we do not take care of the human infrastructure of this state because you don't want to do that? But if it came to corporate taxes or whatever, they do make that happen. And they look at it from what we call augmentation. It's there so we can do it. It just has to have the will to address those issues.
House Republicans have not yet released their priorities, but they say they plan to focus on housing affordability as well. They say they credit the state's recent economic growth to their policies.
Our economy is growing faster than all of our neighboring states. We're also one of the only states in the Midwest that's growing in population. People want to live here. They want to come to Indiana. They want to become those hardworking Hoosier families, all because we live within our means and we make sure that they keep their paychecks.
Both parties face a shorter than usual calendar this year. 2026 is already a short session year, and lawmakers plan to finish this year's session by the end of February instead of mid-March. That's because they began the 2026 session in December to deal with redistricting. House Republicans typically wait until a few days into session before they reveal their priorities. We expect we will hear those later in the week. At the State House, I'm Garrett Bergquist for Wish TV and WishTV.com.
Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita is suing Lilly over insulin costs. The lawsuit alleges that the Indiana-based company participated in a scheme with other insulin manufacturers to inflate prices. Rokita says Lilly inflated insulin prices by more than 1,000% despite low manufacturing costs. State has already filed a lawsuit against other insulin manufacturers in hopes of bringing the cost of insulin down for the nearly 700,000 people in Indiana diagnosed with diabetes. Lawmakers are back in Washington, D.C. They face a busy docket this month. They will likely touch on health care, federal spending, and Venezuela. Michael Yoshida reports from Washington.
January is set to be a busy month for lawmakers as they return to Capitol Hill with a lot on their plate and plenty at stake with looming fall midterms and another potential government shutdown just weeks away.
Congress is back and already bracing for high-stakes battles.
Republicans have a responsibility to partner with us as Democrats.
The House of Representatives in particular needs to get back in the driver's seat when it comes to, tackling the challenges facing our country.
The 2025 fight over health care is continuing in the new year after Congress recessed without passing legislation to address the enhanced Obamacare subsidies that expired on December 31st.
In some instances, health insurance costs will increase by $1,000 or $2,000 per month. That's completely and totally unacceptable.
Some Republicans are expected to join Democrats this week in passing a bill that would extend those subsidies for 3 years. But it has an unclear future in the Senate.
We want to work with anybody to lower the prices.
Overshadowing much of the domestic policy debate, the U.S. military seizure of Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro, putting a vote on limiting presidential war powers in the spotlight. This week's vote had been in the works weeks before Maduro's late-night capture, but now becomes a major test of Republican loyalty to Trump after the operation.
It's always an option for our military to protect American citizens, of which we have many in Venezuela.
Virtually no consultation with Congress, and there's no plan that we can see for what comes next.
And on the heels of the country's longest government shutdown, there's the threat of another. Congressional leaders have until January 30th to reach a deal on funding the government.
And as Congress tries to address these issues, another thing to keep an eye on is how each party's leadership can navigate their individual members' interests throughout these debates, as again, we're into 2026 now, and some members' eyes will be shifting to those fall midterms and their own political futures and interests. In Washington, Michael Yoshida.
The deposed Venezuelan leader, Nicolas Maduro, and his wife pled not guilty to all charges. They faced a federal judge in New York City yesterday. Maduro said that he was kidnapped and reiterated that he is still the president of Venezuela. President Trump says that the U.S. is in charge of the country, but has not presented a plan outlining how.
It's a great country that's been decimated by the Maduro regime. Nobody is disputing that. No one's also disputing the fact that the overwhelming majority of Americans do not support another failed foreign war.
My appreciation of this entire thing is it was completely authorized by law. It's well within Article 2. And now we're getting our Article 1 briefing exactly on the timetable.
Top U.S. officials briefed a group of bipartisan lawmakers on Venezuela in a classified meeting yesterday. Indianapolis Airport is adding nonstop flights for IU fans looking to go to the Peach Bowl. On Thursday, Southwest Airlines is adding 3 nonstop flights to Atlanta. Delta is offering 2, and American Airlines will offer 1. All 3 will have multiple returning flights on Saturday. Colts owner, who was a fixture on the sidelines this season, is explaining why she's keeping the head coach and general manager. Carly Ursay-Gordon says she decided last week that Shane Steichen and Chris Ballard would be back next season based on the team's 7-1 start. But Ursay-Gordon also says she has told both the GM and coach her expectations for the 2026 season are clear. She's listening to Colts fans who are not happy after the team finished the season with a 7-game losing streak.
I'm pissed, and I totally get they're pissed. I want to validate them, and we hear them. It was that's not the way we ever want to end a season. And I think as we evaluate it, we're going right back to work to make sure that we find a way to finish and win games next year and ultimately get us into the postseason.
The Colts have not made the playoffs since the 2020 season. The news about the team's GM and coach did not surprise our Wish TV Colts insider. Kevin Bowen sat down with sports director Anthony Calhoun and had some strong words for the team's decision.
How surprised were you, though, when she did tell us in the press conference that it was not looking at the last couple of years or the full body of work, if you will, especially when it comes to Chris Ballard here?
Well, the numbers would say you should be surprised. I mean, we're talking 11 years without a division title. We're talking 8 years without a playoff win. We're talking 5 years without a playoff appearance. Just to put that into context, 5 years without a playoff appearance, AC, every NFL team but 2 have made the playoffs in that span. So, again, when you lay it out like that, yes, you should be surprised, but I think there's an acceptance of mediocrity over on West 56th Street that is quite apparent right now. And that's disappointing, I think, to be frank. You know, I think it's an organization that prided itself on so much winning, you know, there in the 2000s, and I don't see that same sort of hunger, desire, accountability probably is the best word, to use it, and I think this run it back here now for year 10 for Ballard, 4 for Steichen is another action in that.
Dry January is a popular trend for people hoping to cut back on drinking. Experts say staying sober for even a short amount of time can have big health benefits. News 8's Gina Galero spoke with Wish TV's medical expert, Dr. Janelle Gordon, about the benefits and the pitfalls to look out for if you're doing Dry January.
Small amounts of alcohol can increase your risk for certain diseases. Multiple cancers, including breast cancer, colon cancer, as well as dementia, poor sleep, increased weight, and liver disease.
So in such a small increment, like for 1 month, can that make a difference?
It could. However, also taking part in this new type of habit could lead you to decrease your consumption throughout other parts of the year. So studies have shown that even drinking 2 or less drinks a day can increase your risk for some of those cancers that I mentioned. And I do want viewers to know that no matter if you're drinking a pour of spirits, a glass of wine, or even a beer, 1 standard drink is equal across the board in terms of increasing your risk for some of these health conditions.
What are some other habits that people can pick up in place of drinking?
So we do want to be mindful that if we are cutting back with drinking alcohol, we aren't substituting it for other habits, such as vaping, which we've seen increasing in individuals, especially our younger generation. Rates are down, however, daily use is up for individuals who do vape. And then we also don't want you to resort to some of the marijuana products. As we saw last year, a lot of studies were coming out, depending on the way that you are using marijuana, you could be at increased risk for even heart disease.
This has been your News 8 Daily. From Wish TV, I'm Hannah Mordeau. Watch us on Wish TV and wishtv.com.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.